In this next chapter, we're going to focus on the formation of the government here in the United States. The American colonies had taken a bold step in declaring their independence from Britain in 1776. So now the next big goal was for them to form a new government. And in order to do so, the American people began to draw ideas from a wide range of different political concepts and documents. One source of inspiration was the concept of the rule of law. Right? This rule makes even government officials, especially the king, subject to the law. And so England had limited the power of its kings and queens in two important documents. The first was the Magna Carta in 1215, and then the English Bill of Rights in 1689. And the English Bill of Rights really declared the supremacy of Parliament. The Magna Carta made the king subject to the law, so nobody was above the law. It kept the king and queen from changing laws without Parliament's consent, and as a result, the people's representatives now had a stronger voice in England's government. And so with that same idea, the American people here in now the free colonies wanted to find a way to make sure that everyone was subject to the law and no one could be above the law, therefore preventing them from establishing an absolute monarchy here. The Enlightenment was also very influential in the development of our government here in the United States. Philosophers like John Locke, who had this idea of the social contract that existed between rulers and the people, and also Montesquieu, that argued the only way to achieve liberty was through having a separation of governmental powers so that no one branch of power could ever gain more than another, and therefore preventing the liberties of the citizens from being infringed upon or for being restricted. There were also American models of government that we drew inspiration from as we began to think about what type of national government we wanted. We had our own self-government to follow. Each state had their own self-government. The importance of town meetings, like we saw in the areas of New England, the Virginia House of Burgesses, even back to the Mayflower Compact. Connecticut actually had the first written constitution in 1639. And a constitution really is just a document that sets the basic principles and the laws that the powers of and the duties of the government, right? That's any kind of constitution in general. The Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom was also a very important document that we drew upon. It was written by Thomas Jefferson, and it pretty much declared that no person could be forced to attend a particular church or be requested to pay for a church with tax money. Right? So it kind of set the idea of the separation between church and state with the Virginia Statute of Religious Freedom. And it also set the idea of religious freedom. Most state constitutions throughout the 13 states established some form of limited government. It established some kind of rules to protect the rights of the citizens, those accused of a crime, and some even went as far as banning slavery in some of the states. Many states also began to expand suffrage, right, the right to vote, to any white male who paid taxes rather than just landowners. Before, voting really was restricted to white men who owned property, which really was a small number of the population. Most constitutions in the states expanded this idea to a lot of the males, free white males, within the states. Some states originally allowed women and free African Americans to vote as well, but those rights were soon taken away when we began to create the Articles of Confederation and later the Constitution, because now we were focusing on the whole entire nation that had to agree upon this document. So these particular state constitutions that may have included women's suffrage and the suffrage to African Americans were no longer valid. And so we're going to have to wait few more centuries before suffrage rights are then given to women and African Americans in future amendments. But all of these ideas and these models of government and these ideas from the Enlightenment and ideas from previous documents in Europe, all of these influenced the form of government that was going to take place here in the States and the way that we were going to set up this government.